Most people have seen a mountain. Most people would even draw something similar when asked to draw a mountain. We all have a concept of what a mountain is. But dig a little deeper, and people's stories tend to diverge depending on the lens people use to examine the mountain. Some see a spiritual place and home of the gods. Some see a place from which they can control the world. Some see a treasure of wealth to be exploited. Some see a part of nature that needs preservation. They all have a story to tell. Those stories inform their worldview, and their worldview shapes those stories. Those stories are told at physical and digital campfires with great impact over time. The stories refine and change until they capture thousands of people's gist and wisdom. But these stories are themselves living beings. They interact with the storyteller and the hearer. They shape the thinking of the hearer and are shaped by the thinking of the storyteller. But more than that, these stories beget action, inspiring people to act on them. And those actions change the actor. So when he tells the story, a glimpse of his experience gets interwoven into the story. Stories vary from region to region, from continent to continent. But interestingly enough, many stories seem similar. In extensive studies, developmental psychologists have found that these stories can be categorized along the complexity of the challenges they address and their proposed solutions. These categories can be mapped to certain human life phases, historic and prehistoric findings for humanity, and different cultures alive and flourishing on Earth as we speak. Models were developed as early as the Enlightenment, when Friedrich Schiller saw three maturity levels. 1. Wild, emotional, physical man, man of nature. 2. Barbaric, rational man, ruled by rules and fashion, a man of artificiality. 3. Educated and moral man, who is a personality. Schiller stated that exposure to soothing and invigorating beauty would have people grow. Soothing beauty works as a pacifier for the wild man, while invigorating beauty will be the tonic that will bring forth the educated and moral man. Schiller's time had seen the eroding of feudalism and the emergence of democratic systems, which brought forth the need for self-governing citizens. Self-governing people exercise control over their own affairs and are best described with Schiller's third level. Since Schiller, the models have become more elaborate. People like Gebser, Jean Piaget, Robert Kegan, Lawrence Kohlberg, Claire W. Graves, and many more have expanded the theory considerably. I have used the term model deliberately. With statistician George Box, I strongly hold that all models are wrong, but some are useful and add for a time. I ask you to keep that in mind. Do not conclude that I see those models accurately describing reality or expect you to buy them as truth delivered to you. Spiral dynamics is the one model I am using extensively in my coaching practice. It has identified 8 distinct developmental phases that build something like the DNA of the evolution of human consciousness and the complexity of thinking. Each level can be expressed as environmental challenges and influences on one side interacting with human reaction and adaptation on the other. In short, when the challenges we face change, we develop new strategies to cope with them. In return, those new solutions will result in more complex challenges as the environment reacts. We call these levels value memes. They express themselves with a distinct hierarchization of values. What do we mean by that? Values are data points we consider when we make a decision, whether consciously or unconsciously. We build hierarchies with these data points to resolve conflicts between values that might arise in the decision process. Cultures within the same value meme have similar hierarchizations of values. Such hierarchizations are copied between people and sometimes go viral. This is why they are called memes, as memes are cultural bits that are easily copied. Claire W. Graves found that we have 8 such value memes today. While those value memes build on each other, none is qualitatively better than the other apart from whether it fits the environmental challenges it currently faces. Value memes are used to create a map that helps people navigate and manipulate the world. Living in the jungle as a hunter-gatherer calls for a different map and a different value meme than living in a modern city as a computer programmer. On the other hand, a person cannot live in a complex global society without having learned to interrelate with family and tribe members first. We transcend and include previous value memes and return to them when needed or triggered. Let us define the 8 value memes we know. They are color-coded, which helped redefine the associations of colors when Don Beck used spiral dynamics to aid Nelson Mandela and F.W. de Klerk in navigating the transition from apartheid to a democratic system. The 8 value memes are beige, survival and satisfaction of primary needs; purple, kinship, safety, security; red, willpower, action, passion; blue, stability, order, morality, traditionalism; orange, self-expression, success-driven, rationality, modernity; green, community, sensitivity, harmony, post-modernity; yellow, synergy, systemic, integral, metamodernity; turquoise, holistic. Many resources apply the value memes to human history. Others talk about an individual's journey through the value memes. I chose another approach to demonstrate the model's value. Today's political situation and sense-making crisis. Keep in the back of your mind that we are working with a model here and see whether it seems useful to analyze where we are. My analysis will use these 3 value memes: blue, orange, and green. So let us first define the 3 in some detail. Blue, to get to grips with and tame the unbridled dread quest for power, and to bring order to the perceived chaos. Blue is created with its calm, order, and stability. People realize it is good for the community when desires can be tamed. As a reaction to the highly solitary red, people organize themselves in new associations and communities, which are no longer based on blood ties, but on common interests. The time horizon breaks away from the here and now and focuses on postponed rewards by a single God, an absolute truth, a right path. Norms, values, and God-given hierarchies determine life. In addition to the well-known faith communities, blue can be identified in ideologies such as atheistic communism. Most companies of a certain size actually have a strong expression of blue in their organization and processes. In blue, many structures are created that make coexistence and cooperation in larger institutions possible in the first place. The state with laws and legal systems, to name just one example. On the negative side, the rules of blue can take on dogmatic traits and hinder or even prevent personal development through peer pressure, manipulation, and feelings of guilt in the event of deviation from the norms. Bureaucracy stands in the way of the necessary adaptability. Orange. Orange develops because blue restricts personal development. In orange, the awareness arises that man can also determine his own life. Like red, orange emphasizes self-development and self-expression, but draws on the strategic thinking learned in blue. This is an example of how previous value systems are integrated and transcended. Orange works within the structures of blue but loves to discover the loopholes. Motivation for that behavior is not in the pursuit of power, but in the kick and the pursuit of success. Meritocracies arise, hierarchies based on personal achievements, even if only in form of the ability to play or even game the game. Strategic, targeted work towards financial success, coupled with a mania for feasibility, can endanger blue structures and overlook environmental consequences. The mindset prevails that since somebody will exploit the loophole anyway, why not me? Green. Orange individualism generates abundance and loneliness. To have a house, job, and family, is that really everything? Green strives to give meaning to life, inner peace and well-being. Green strives for harmony with man and nature and brings emotions, intuition, and spirituality back into a materialistic world. But green only arises where there is enough prosperity to afford it. Therefore, green is hard to be found in second and third world countries today. Those countries have hardly progressed into orange. Most are at the doorstep of blue. Orange is the wealth machine by freeing the external self-expression of the individual and their strive and drive. This wealth allows for the somewhat idealistic green worldview, the emancipation of minorities, the welfare state, and the Roaring '60s show the development and increase of green. Green compensates for deficits that have arisen in previous value systems, such as inequality between men and women, the work-life balance, the gap between rich and poor, and the exploitation of nature for human benefit. In the economy, hierarchies are flattened and self-controlling teams are created. In addition, decisions are made in consensus, leading to endless meetings without results. The aspects that green brings to society are important. Still, in a society dominated by blue and orange, those values are difficult to convey since these previous value memes, by definition, do not see the problems they cause. Green often reacts by rejecting the previous value systems as the previous value systems do. The motivation to grow into a new value system is precisely the lack of response of the previous ones to the problems they cause. Green fights against blue thinking in categories such as right and wrong, but often destroys value structures as truth becomes subjective. Orange differentiates between winners and losers, with the corresponding loss of human dignity, but fighting that circumstance leads to the erosion of the orange system, which generates prosperity. Hierarchies, whether power-based as in red, God-given as in blue, or success-based as in orange, are rejected in green. At the same time, natural hierarchies are not recognized. Green has nothing to oppose red claims to power, but wants to solve conflicts using dialogue, and thus misses to set limits to inappropriate behavior. The frustration that results when green cannot find a consensus with people from other value memes often has them reach back into previous value memes and use blue absolutism and red power. Tolerant green people become red-blue rioters. We now have the basic descriptions. Next, we will apply them to today's situation in the U.S. From the descriptions, can you see that U.S. evangelicalism is a profoundly blue system with red leadership and some orange marketing schemes? But let's concentrate on their blue center of gravity. The remaining Republicans have their center of gravity in orange, together with moderate Democrats. The remaining left is mostly green, with wokeism being a mostly unhealthy, frustrated version. Looking at U.S. politics in this fashion allows us to make sense of the ongoing culture war 2.0. Three incompatible worldviews have significant representation in the population and the political parties, with orange being the majority. But when we look at orange, we find some to be blue-orange, leaning more towards accepting blue, and others at orange-green, slowly growing into green, or maybe just seeing more market potential in adopting green concepts. All three value memes see the solution only within their own worldview. Spiral Dynamics sees another solution unfolding. Yellow. Claire W. Graves noted that people could take an enormous step at this point in their development. They lose their fear of failure, gain creativity, and can solve more complex problems. One insight of yellow is that all previous value systems are valuable and necessary. Humanity needs the strong family unit of purple, the impact and decisiveness of red, the structures and norms of blue, the strategic, targeted work from orange, and the green care for people at large. Yellow no longer encounters complex problems such as global warming or migration, whether motivated by war or climate, with fear, but with a bouquet of solutions from all value memes that serve the entire system. Yellow understands the motivations and values that drive people in each value system and can thus promote dialogue between value systems. It sees life as a kaleidoscope of possibilities. This view prevents yellow from wanting to impose its thinking on the other value systems. Yellow sees itself as a companion, an accompanying person, without the urge to dominate. It recognizes that there are natural hierarchies where the whole is more than the sum of its parts and can develop new characteristics and functions. The person who is best equipped for the problem at hand is empowered to lead temporarily. Yellow will introduce its own set of problems that it cannot solve. This is why there is another value meme emerging called turquoise. Spiral Dynamics is not a journey to utopia, but one of adaptation to more complex challenges brought about by the evolution of the mind. Even if we do not grasp the opportunity yellow offers and down spiral to red in a civil war, red will not be the same as people have expanded their thinking to blue, orange, and green capabilities. Even then, there is hope for a rebound, just as Germany did after World War II, reaching into blue organizational power and orange strive. If you want to know more about spiral dynamics, your own worldview, the cultural mix at your workplace, and how to best deal with that kind of diversity, or even want to become a spiral dynamics practitioner, contact me.